Lucci are two of the most heavily debated characters within the One Piece community, as they've had major fights against one of the Straw Hat's main combatants, Roanoa Zoro. On one hand, Lucci is hyped up because beforehand he fought Luffy and has an awakening, while King has amazing durability. But naturally, because of those factors, people will look at them and wonder who would win in a fight. Well, that's why I'm here today. In today's video, I'm going to be going over why King vs Lucci may not be as close as you think. Now, before I get into the video, if you guys would like, subscribe and turn the notification bell on, that would be perfect, as I'm going to be uploading a lot more as I have more free time, and it's a win-win. I post more content about animes that you love, you get to watch it. Hey, look, listen, we're both growing here. Just like with Jujutsu Kaisen and One Piece, I'll be exploring them in many different ways, so you'll get a different variety of content with my channel. But enough of all of this, let's get into the video. First off, we're going to analyze King. Firstly, we're going to be going over AP. Now, King has a wild range of attacks that stem from him literally pulling his head back and firing off like an arrow, to then him blowing himself up. To say the least, King has a wild set of attacks, but for his AP, we do have a solid skill to where we can then build the rest of his attacks off of. In this panel here, we see Zoro stab King, which leads to King blowing himself up, and after the explosion clears, we see that Zoro states if he didn't guard himself in armament, he would have died. This means that this attack alone does produce Thunderbargo levels of AP, as Zoro earlier does take Thunderbargo unguarded without no haki, so we can say that for King's explosion, it does scale to around Thunderbargo level. This would also mean that his Magma Dragon and everything else after that would probably scale higher than it, so it would be easy to say that King does have Thunderbargo levels of AP or above. Next is speed, and King has two forms for this. On one hand, we have King's Flame On mode, and King's Flame On mode isn't the fastest, as we do see it get blitzed by Marco, but on the other hand, we have his Flame Off mode, which does take Zoro from being able to see him to him not being able to see him and forcing himself to wait for King to basically attack him, and he attacks back with his reaction speed. So to wrap up speed, Flame On King is susceptible to being blitzed by characters like Marco, while on the other hand, Flame Off King is able to disappear from character sites like Zoro. Now, durability is probably King's biggest asset, since on his Flame On mode, he doesn't really take damage, like he can't take damage, while with his Flame Off, I do believe his durability may be high, but Zoro does hint at characters like Lucci and Kaku being able to damage him if he was to turn his flames off, so take that as you will. Next is endurance, and King's endurance was stated to be good by Kaido, but obviously we've only seen King take advanced conquerors attacks, and he only did take 3, so we can't really give you a solid basis on what King's endurance is, but just know that he can take 3 advanced conquerors attacks before going down. Next is hacks, and we have to include the fire he gets from being a Lunarian and obviously the defenses he gets, but we can also factor in his devil fruit. Due to him being able to turn into a dinosaur, King can actually shoot things from his wings for some reason, and he can soak up damage better since dinosaurs have been stated to soak up damage, which means his endurance and his durability does increase because of this. And if you pair that up with his Lunarian defenses, you can obviously see how this is a deadly combo. Lastly is battle IQ, and King... Alright, so King is creative. Like, we're not going to sit and lie to ourselves. King does come up with a few creative attacks, but throughout his fight, he does show that he can play with his food, as he does allow Zoro to get up many times. But luckily, in this fight, we're going to be using a Bloodthirsty King, so we won't be seeing those tendencies in this fight. With that being said, this is the end of King's section of the video. Now let's get on to Lucci. In terms of AP, I figured out that hand pistol, which seems to be one of his more potent attacks, is around Kizaru laser level, because Kizaru used one of his lasers to bust out Sentomaru's shield and end up winning the fight, while Lucci uses hand pistol to break through Sentomaru's exact same shield, which means that hand pistol and Kizaru's laser should be around the same level of AP. Next up is speed, and in terms of speed, Lucci has shown a decent level of speed, as he has dodged a Gear 5 Luffy attack and does have shave. Now, Luffy wasn't really going all out here, and he wasn't taking the fight seriously, so we're not going to say that Lucci can react to Gear 5 level attacks, but just know that his reaction speed and his movement speed is kinda decent. All you need to know is that his attack speed and reaction speed is lower than Zoro's by quite a bit, since Zoro is able to basically start on Lucci and obviously get his attack off. Next is endurance, and it's stated that Awakened Zoro has a better recovery time, and is showcased against his fight against Luffy, as he does get up like literally minutes later. One thing we do know is that he can only take 1 ACOC attack from Zoro before literally just not being able to fight again. That will come into play later, but let's get on to his hacks. For hacks, Lucci has his Awakened Devil Fruit, which allows him to obviously turn into a panther. Now, he has been able to showcase the ability to shift through all of his forms, as he does do this in Annie's lobby, and I'm assuming he'll obviously be able to do it now. He also does have advanced armament, since obviously to get through advanced armament shield, you're going to need an advanced armament haki yourself. And of course he has an observation haki as well. Next is Battle IQ, and I'd like to think that Lucci is smart since he was able to awaken his Devil Fruit and learn all Tekai moves. And in his fight against Luffy, we can also see that he was able to decipher how Gear 2 Luffy worked, and obviously fought in many different ways during their fight. Plus, he was basically a prodigy at a young age, so I'm assuming that his battle IQ is very high. So now that we've gone over them, let's actually see how the fight will go. To begin, as stated before, both characters will be bloodlusted, and the fight will happen on Egghead? Yeah, we'll let them fight on Egghead. So the fight takes place on Egghead, and it's already known that Lucci knows King's weakness. Now I'm not going to take this out of the fight since it's in canon, and I'm not going to strip Lucci of that. So coming into the fight, Lucci already knows King's weakness, and because of that, this does give Lucci an advantage. But I don't think this advantage is really going to help him much, and I'm going to get into that right now. Now the fight will begin, and I don't believe that Lucci will say a thing about King's weakness, since if he does, then King will obviously be more on guard. So obviously the fight is going to begin, and King and Lucci are going to do their usual things. He will obviously transform into his awakening form, and I do think King will just stay in his fire mode since he doesn't really know what Lucci can do. So I think he would attack Lucci a few times, see what would happen, and I think that Lucci will probably be faster than Flame on King. So King will be like, you know what, let's switch the flames off, or he could even just go into the air. Now if King does turn off his flames, it hasn't been shown that Lucci can even keep up with Flame off King, if I'm being honest with you. So it would kind of just be a blitz from King, and I don't think he would one-shot Lucci, but I don't think it would take that many hits since King's AP is pretty high. As stated before, King's like high level attacks are around Thunder Bargo level, and that is very impressive. He has a multitude of ways of fighting this battle. He could be in the air, he can be on the ground, he could literally just sit there and take Lucci's attacks. He can do anything in this fight, as Lucci doesn't really pose that much of a threat in my opinion. Lucci was never faster than Zoro in any way. Yes, we can say that King's movement speed was faster than Zoro's, which meant he had to rely on his reaction speed, but not even Lucci's movement or reaction speed was that high, so I don't think that King would even struggle with this with his flames off. And whatever hits Lucci does dish out, yeah, I did understand that obviously Zoro did take down King in 3 attacks, but at the exact same time, King was fighting an ACOC opponent. He wasn't fighting someone like Lucci, which means he should be able to take far more hits from Lucci than he was from Zoro. The only thing that Lucci has over King is his battle IQ, and because they're both bloodlusted in this scenario, I don't think that Lucci will be able to get a King whilst playing around with his food, which means certain openings that King may give, he won't give in this scenario, which means he will be able to take out Lucci pretty easily. And let's be honest, if you have Thunder Bargo levels of AP, Lucci isn't staying around for that long, and obviously he has other things to back it up as well. All in all, I do think that Lucci's battle IQ will probably be his most saving grace in this fight, but I think at best it will be a high diff fight. An extreme diff fight is a very hard push, as I don't think Lucci has that many attacks that can damage King like that, and before he even gets there, I think King does have the AP to just take out Lucci. So yeah, Lucci versus King is not as close as you think it is, guys. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I know that this is a very discussed topic, since people like to say, oh, Lucci can beat King, King can beat Lucci. As Zoro began to fight Lucci, obviously the comparisons came up as always, since people like to always compare. But yeah, King is stronger than Lucci. Nah, this is the end of the video. This is a very short video compared to my other ones I've been pushing out, so I'm actually kind of happy with myself here, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, tune into the next video, please. And yeah, just like and subscribe, and I love all the support you're showing as well. Thank you so much. And just, I don't mind Twitter, guys. But yeah, that would be it for me today.